she's thinking we're going to celebrate 3 years. And he used that as the time to tell her he's met someone else and was done.
Busy, busy, busy. That's all we seem to be these days. We wear it
And-
like a badge of honor.
I said, you owe me a year. You will get help. And if after 1 year you still want to divorce my daughter, then I release you. I never saw that guy again.
We're supposed to know ourselves, but we're always changing. What? I didn't sign up for this.
Two healthy, full individuals create a strong marriage. Two negatives, worn out, empty people will never create any sort of healthy, fulfilling marriage.
Welcome to Marriage IQ, the podcast helping you become an intelligent spouse.
I'm Heidi Hastings.
And I'm Scott Hastings.
We are two doctors, two researchers, two spouses, two lovers, and two incredibly different human beings coming together for one purpose: to change the stinky parts of your marriage into scintillating ones using intelligence mixed with a little fun. Welcome back, everybody, to Marriage IQ. Scott and I are really happy to have you here with us today as we continue the second part of our episode with Dr. Greg Smalley. He's from Focus on the Family, the vice president over the marriage section of that great organization that supports families and marriage. He's been so great in episode 1 to share with us some of the funny stories and very personal stories about his own marriage, the good and the bad parts of it, as well as the legacy that he comes from, which is very fascinating. And we actually had a tie to. So if you haven't listened to that part yet, go ahead and go back and listen to part 1. In that episode, he talked about the value of humor and of conflict versus repair. And it's not so much that we need relationships without conflict as much as we need relationships where we really know how to repair. We talked quite a bit about curiosity too. So we hope that everyone will enjoy the rest of this episode, and welcome again, Dr. Greg Smalley.
My oldest daughter, on her 3rd wedding anniversary, her husband, they were going out to, she's thinking we're going to celebrate 3 years. And he used that as the time to tell her he's met someone else and was done.
What?
And yeah. So Aaron and I were on a date night.
Back up. Wait.
Yeah.
This is your
yeah.
your daughter?
This is my oldest daughter.
Who
3
you've
years
taught
into
everything about marriage, and probably the son-in-law too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's like a punch in the
Devastating.
chest. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I mean, honestly, we were at a dueling piano concert, Aaron and I, date night. She gets the call, answers it, and you can just see by her face. I mean, Aaron goes, honey, what are you saying? I can't understand you. You're crying. Like, what are you saying? And we went out in the lobby and found out that he just asked her for a divorce. And so over the course of time, I went to him and I said, listen, here's the deal. The covenant that you have between you and Taylor and God it's a big deal. Let's put that aside. You told me that you would never do this. I told you guys were going to hit a really hard seasons, and you assured me, you gave me your word that you would fight and that you would work through that, you'd get help. And so I said, you owe me a year. I felt like,
good answer.
Whoever in the Bible, you owe me 7 years, whatever. But I said, you owe me a year. You will get help. You will go to an intensive, and then you will have weekly marriage counseling. And if after 1 year you still want to divorce my daughter, then I release you. I never saw that guy again. So obviously I have no power of persuasion whatsoever. But all this to say, so this was a young man I loved, gave him my blessing. Aaron and I did. He said all the right things. And I believe in his heart when he assured me that he would never leave, that he would fight for his marriage with my daughter, that he meant every bit of that. But I got super cynical. And my middle daughter's now husband, when he came to ask, I said, here's the deal. I said, I wrote there, it's like 12 questions that every father and mother should ask their future son-in-law. Like, I wrote the book about that. And I said, I don't even know what to ask you, because you're going to tell me what I want to hear. You're going to tell me what you think is the right thing. I'm not buying it. And I feel bad now looking back. Yeah, I was so hurt by that I was very cynical. And I would say now, so let me try to bring this back to what we were talking about, that I think instead of asking someone, will you fight? Will you stay? Will you not leave my daughter? Instead, you look for evidence that they're teachable,
Mhm.
that they're humble enough to have gotten help, that they've gone in to get counseling. Like, to me, commitment and truly exhibiting commitment is the fact that you've already reached out. You have mentors, you have counselors, you're curious. So see, I'm bringing this back. You're like, where are we going? Where is this guy going?
Oh, this is great.
But I think that's actually a stronger predictor for commitment. If you're thinking about wanting to marry someone, or if you're a parent looking to give this young man your blessing, that's what you should be looking for, not saying, hey, you're going to stay with her, with him, whatever, for your life. I get it. Like, they mean it. But the stronger, I think, evidence is that I'm teachable and that I pursue knowledge. And that's evidence that you're getting help and you're reading. And that's what I started to then ask. And my middle daughter's now husband, that's where I went with him, is to say, show me how you pursue growth in your life, and you're willing to be humble enough to say, I don't have all the answers. So let me go to counseling. Let me get a mentor. Let me read. And he had done that in spades.
Wow.
And so again, I hate that we keep bringing it all back and making Scott look like the hero that he is, obviously.
He's
But
my
you're
hero.
right, like that, right? In mine now, he's a harp wielding hero in my life now with your brilliance around curiosity. But I think that's another way that it plays out, that curiosity means that I don't have all the answers and I want to keep growing and learning, and I'm willing to get help and to ask and to do that kind of stuff. So I'll stop talking about it. You got me all riled up.
We love that. You think he plays the harp well, you should hear him play the piano.
Really?
In our
Man.
pre-marriage days, he composed classical piano music.
What?
And
What?
I just couldn't resist him. Like, it
How do you
spoke to my
keep your
heart.
hands off him? Like,
Well-
should we end this now and just let you guys have some private time? Wow, I'm
He
impressed.
did play last night. He was upstairs playing while I was down in my office
Really?
for a little bit. And
Some Christmas music or
Wasn't
love
he-
songs?
wasn't he
No,
Christmas music?
I'm working
Wow.
on some. I have to get some things memorized by the end of the year.
to meet his
Okay.
goals.
Some
All right.
Debussy and Rachmaninoff. So
Wow. I don't know what that is or what it would sound like, but I'm sure it'll be amazing and
It's
good for
It's-
you. And I feel like a complete inadequate failure in my life
No.
now. So I'll need to spend some
No.
time asking God what's true.
no,
Look at Scott.
no.
Look at
I-
me.
no.
You've got 30 years of your own path.
I've
of
written 0
beautiful,
books,
wonderful things.
Greg.
Well, you just
Does that make us a
written bunch
failure?
of music, and no, it just means you invested in things that'll actually make you money. So that's good for you.
Playing the piano does not make me money.
It could. Dueling pianos. See, Aaron and I went to see that.
That is a great idea. The dueling piano bar. I think we're gonna
Very
do it.
triggering for me now, but whatever.
Back in the 90s, about the same time we got those tapes, he somehow connected with Apple Orchard or something like that, some company to try to publicize his CD that he recorded. And we just kind of lost track of them. But somehow it's showing up on Spotify and
Is it really?
probably
Wow.
Apple Music,
I'm on
like
Spotify.
everything. He's never gotten a penny
wanna-
for
They
anything.
don't pay me a dime,
Right.
but
Well,
I don't.
you
I don't.
know,
I mean,
it
it's not.
blesses your heart.
He
I
doesn't
don't
need
it's
it,
not the
but-
money. I mean,
Can I
It's just
can I
funny.
hire him to do the new music for the relaunch of those videos that started the whole program? See?
oh, that's so funny. That's great. Great memories.
He moved on to different things, but we got a guy.
There you go. I'm impressed.
It's funny. Yeah, he's amazing.
I feel like we need to spend some time affirming Heidi, though. So I feel like we've done a lot of Scott affirmations. but-
I don't like
So-
the spotlight.
Neither of us do. I'm more comfortable with him being in the spotlight. But
Well, that's amazing of you. See, that's who you are. That's the brilliance of who you are.
what I hear you saying, Greg, is that it's important to prioritize the marriage.
Wait, what?
Okay. Did you write that? Is that one of you? Did you compose that? That's pretty impressive.
Busy, busy, busy. That's all we seem to be these days. Busy, busy, busy.
We are.
We wear it
And
like a badge of honor.
we hear a lot of people too say, I don't know anybody who puts their marriage before their kids.
What? You think marriages should be more prioritized than kids?
What do you think, Greg?
Well, I feel and hear and sense the sarcasm with the snarky response from Scott. So I think the right answer is you're absolutely right that people do that. Like when I think about what causes the drift, I go first and foremost to exhaustion.
Yeah.
And I just think we see so many couples who are so worn out, empty, have nothing to give. And so what maybe we give is leftovers at best. But the problem is that when you're empty and exhausted, you look to your spouse and they're a threat. Like, wait, you're an adult and you're telling me you need something, we need something. Like the threat is I have nothing more to give. So kind of you take care of you. Let's hope and pray that our marriage stays on autopilot and survives this busy season. Because certainly next year, next month, next week will be better. And it never is. And so when we prioritize our kids, our work, hobbies, and everything, church, like all these things, I think first of all, the individuals suffer because we don't do a very good job, I think, as a culture, especially a Christian culture, of understanding how do I make sure I'm taking good care of me as an individual so that I'm full, so that I have something to give my spouse. And that's why Aaron and I, we've really leaned into going, okay, this whole idea about taking care of you, let's just make this simple. Like, what do we do? And so we actively try to understand for each other, like the individuals, like what gives us rest and what brings us life. And so for me, man, when I'm listening to praise and worship music, or when I've got music on of some sort, now it's only going to be Scott Hastings music. So that'll soothe and relax me.
A window
But
to the soul.
right, exactly. But there is something about understanding in this season what helps me rest. And then also at the same time going in this season, what brings me life, what gives me passion and helps my heart come alive. I think when we devote time as individuals to doing those things, that's what fills us up. And that's why we read the Bible, we spend time at church, we pray. That's the stuff that keeps me full, not Erin. She is, I always tell people, I love my wife. I want to spend my entire life. I told her that I'm dying first, so I don't have to live a moment without her, but I don't need my wife. I need God. He's the one that sustains me and fills me, and he's the source. And I want to go to him. So when we talk about, the pop psyche kind of self care, all we're saying, plug into the Lord and find ways that gives you rest in life and allow him to help you stay full. Now I can turn around and my wife's no longer a threat. My kids aren't a threat. I have something to give them. Two healthy, full individuals create a strong marriage. Two negatives in math equal positive. That's horrible math in a marriage because two negatives, worn out, empty people will never create any sort of healthy, fulfilling marriage. So I think it's combating the busyness that we see everybody is into.
So what you're really saying is the marriage can't come very first. What needs to come very first is filling our own cup, making sure that we aren't showing up exhausted, which really makes sense because we always talk about self-differentiation, that we need to have that individuality. And it doesn't probably need to take a lot of time. That doesn't mean that
It takes a lifetime, I
is
love.
a little at a time. Yep.
I never fully know who I am. Well, although we teach identity very strongly on this program.
But we may need to ask ourselves, what is it as part of developing our identity that helps me feel rested? What is it
Yeah.
that lights me up
Right.
and put more of that into our lives?
Yes.
Because it changes, right? Who I was at 20, very different than who I was at 30 and 40. I always say when Erin shares that, she's like, and it's different than who I at 40 and then who I was again at 30. So somehow she seems to lose years. I don't know how that works, but right? We all change.
Yeah.
And obviously our identity is rooted in who we are as an image bearer, as a son of the Most High. But through life, I've got to keep up with how am I changing in this new season? Like just before I got on to this podcast with you guys, my wife got a call from hospice where her dad is just at the final stages of his life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, between this moment and when I get home, my wife is a different person, right?
Yeah.
Just that reality of because her mom is already with the Lord and all of what that means for her. And if I don't then pursue that knowledge of Aaron of who you are now and what's different and how can I best love you now? And that is a part of the identity within our relationship is going, I want to stay on top of that stuff because we're always changing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that kind
That
of
is
a
true. That is so
transition.
true. That is so true. Again, we've hit on another paradox. We're supposed to know ourselves, but we're always changing. What? I didn't sign up for this.
What noise goes along with that one?
Huh?
What noise?
What special
what sound
noise
effect?
track? Oh, see? Causes me to sit back like crickets chirping and ponder. I like that. See, he's good.
Yeah. So-
Life's paradoxes, right? I mean, we never fully know who we are, but yet we're always changing too. So it's a constant quest. And that's why you can never really get done with teaching about marriage because it's always changing. Everything is changing.
Because as individuals, we're constantly
We're
changing.
constantly revamping our garden.
Yeah. My parents both passed away this summer. And I think in the framework of what you just said, it changed me. And Scott couldn't figure that out. He hasn't experienced that yet. And I think it kind of threw him for a loop, me for a loop. And so exploring again those questions about what is it that turns me on? What lights me up? What helps me rest? And what do I need to rest
Yeah.
from? It might not be the same kinds of things that I was resting from before. But I also have a question for you about how to have a more playful and fun element to our marriage when we feel exhausted. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think what Aaron and I really try to do, because that would be one of our defining, talk about identities for our marriage is just humor and laughter and playfulness. We just really value that. And I don't always think that's going to come naturally or normally for someone, not even for us. We have to really look for ways to do that. And the couple things that we really try to do is we do have all of our little inside jokes and our little pet names and, the little glances to where we'll smile when someone says whatever, because we're like, oh, we don't even need to talk about it. But we also have gotten really disciplined to take moments when we reunite, either around the dinner table or maybe later when we're laying down in bed. We might watch something funny. Inevitably, she's found 2 or 3 little reels from social media that cracked her up that she's going to show me, and we're going to laugh together. We're going to relay stories. Just the other day, she called me. She goes, "You will never guess what happened to me." She was supposed to play bunco, which I'm like, I don't even know what bunco is. It was some fun game she plays.
That women play.
But she was
Only women play
yeah.
them.
Right. I don't know why that is, but she was going to this new house to play and got there. There was a sign that literally said, "Come on in." So she walks in, looks around, didn't recognize the house. Were the people there? And she's like, oh, well, again, it'll be fun. She's an extrovert. Let me preface that because I never would have gone there as an introvert to begin with. But she's there. She's eating the food and talking to people. And some woman goes, "All right, ladies, let's move into the living room so we can start the PTA meeting." And she's like, "Wait, what?" And she goes, "The PTA meeting." She goes, "This is bunco." And she's like, "This is not what?" She's like, "Well, one, who plays bunco during the day? First of all, only a bunch of addicts would, whatever." But she's like, whose house are you in? So Aaron said the address. She goes, "That's 3 houses up." And so Aaron had walked into some stranger's house, eating their food, connected with all these women. And then only to find out that it was the PTA meeting, which she was elected president of
I'm
that
sure she
PTA
was.
chapter. So good for her. But so she calls and tells me that. So that's a part of how we just keep things
Storytelling.
light
Yep.
is we'll leave these stupid things that happen to us. So I think if we're intentional with those kinds of things, hey, I heard a funny joke here. I mean, sometimes they miss, but it's the point that we're very intentional to do the kinds of things that create some lightness and playfulness in our marriage.
That is great.
I think
love that.
that would energize us during those really busy times. I think our way
Yeah.
of coping with busyness is to travel, which then
Very expensive way to
Yeah.
cope. Just saying.
Yeah. But hey, spend money on your marriage, right?
very connecting. The house is paid off. That
Right?
budget item now goes to travel. But anyway, well, this has been really awesome.
We could share our mortgage with you if you're dying to relive that kind of experience. We would love you enough to do that if you want.
That's so kind. So kind to have a little piece of property there in Colorado Springs, right up against the mountains. We love when we're
Got a
driving
beautiful view of Colorado,
up
the
towards-
Pikes Peak. So
Yep,
there you go.
up towards Denver. When we drive from Dallas up, we
See?
love
Oh.
that area. Garden of the Gods.
Yeah.
I went to the University of Oklahoma, so my son and I pilgrimage every year to a game there. And so now we've learned in Amarillo, Texas, there's a Buc-ee's now. So halfway. So you're so lucky. that
Wow.
we've had
Amarillo
Buc-ee's.
is.
I'm sure.
They're moving up in the
They
world
are
if they have a
moving.
Buc-ee's.
I mean,
They got a Buc-ee's?
what else do you need? I could survive there.
You live at
I
a
could live
Buc-ee's.
at a Buc-ee's. Exactly.
Yep.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's where we.
That 3-meat sandwich. I mean,
So for all-
I would never need to cook.
All those listeners outside of Texas, you just got to come to
You're like,
Texas to
"What?"
know what we're talking about. Yep.
That's right.
Buc-ee's is amazing. Well, we have loved what you've taught us, what you've shared with us. Can you share maybe one final thought that we haven't asked about, but that you think could really make that difference in helping people who are finding themselves overwhelmed, busy, or just not as tuned into their marriage as they could be?
Yeah, I would say that in those busy seasons, we feel disconnected. The temptation is to rely on the big grand gestures. Well, we'll just wait for the next holiday, the next vacation, the next travel, the next date night. And for me, a marriage will never survive from date night to date night, vacation to vacation, holiday to holiday. It puts too much pressure on those things. Versus, I think one of the best ways to begin to reconnect is to do what Aaron and I do. We do this every day, and it's play the high-low game. That's just at some point at dinner, maybe you're laying in bed, whenever. Just take 10 minutes. That's all. 10 minutes and just ask each other, what was the high of your day and the low of your day? And that little 10-minute check-in keeps you current, like we talked about, keeps you curious, like we've talked about. It's such a simple, easy connector. It's a little micro moment, and those micro moments of connections will add up way more than the big grand gestures. So don't fret if you're like, we don't have money to get away to do this or to do that. Just go, man, what was the high of your day and the low of your day? And if you do that faithfully, I promise you guys will reconnect.
What does our studio audience think of that idea?
We call that poopsicle and popsicle. What was your poopsicle of the day and what was your popsicle today?
Oh, see, you've added levels and dimensions I hadn't even thought about. So yeah, I love that. Whatever you want. I've heard rose and thorns,
I
whatever.
heard that too.
Something will get you into that level of curiosity and you will stay current. And that is the key to reconnecting.
Great. If our listeners want to find out more about what you do, where can we turn them?
Yeah. Probably the best, because we love doing it, is Aaron and I do a podcast called Crazy Little Thing Called Marriage. So if you go there, you can ask a question. We'll answer it online, send you a book. But we love to connect with people that way. So check us out.
Crazy
Little Thing Called Marriage.
Yeah, we've listened to a few episodes. We really enjoy it.
In the theme music and these sound effects are originals from Dr. Scott Hastings.
Might be a little.
They will be.
Might be a little
It will
intense.
be.
There you go.
Rather, that's would you call it a poopsicle or a
Popsicle.
popsicle or whatever? Yeah, exactly. It'll be one of them.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Greg Smalley. And wow, what a great discussion today.
Yeah.
And folks, we appreciated you listening, tuning in, or watching. If you have any questions, comments, complaints, reach out to us. hello@marriageiq.com. We will be sure to answer you, and share this with your friends. It would really mean a lot to us. And just know that we love you so much. We hope that you have just the best, most scintillating marriage and relationships together. And we will catch you on another exciting episode next time on Marriage IQ.
Hey, everybody. As the Hastings family heads into the holidays this year, Scott and I are practicing what we teach. Marriage and family thrive on intentional pauses. We are taking a 2-week break to be fully present with our kids who are coming into town and our family, so we can recharge and live the principles that we share here on Marriage IQ. But don't worry, we'll be back in January of 2026 with fresh episodes, some new research, and another year of helping couples build marriages that aren't just healthy, but are truly scintillating. So until then, stay connected. Make sure you listen to some of the episodes that you may have missed in the past, and stay curious and intentional, and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.